Throughout history, men have quested for the Holy Grail. The quest for the Grail may hold its roots in the ancient mystery schools. In the days of ancient Sumerian Egypt, adherents or students may have been given a set of clues and learned specific skills in order to solve mysterious questions. Later, the Greeks and Romans were also seduced by the mysteries. Much of the information taught at the mystery schools may have involved learning secret or hidden knowledge that was to be used with care and discretion. Later orders such as the Knights Templar may have learned these mysteries and quested for hidden knowledge themselves. In fact, the name Knights Templar may refer to the map templates they learned of by studying geometry and mathematics. Some of the hidden knowledge may have involved the use of square, hexagonal, or octagonal templates in order to create map projections that would reduce the amount of distortion in the rendering of maps, thus making them more accurate and reliable. Having the skills to make accurate maps would be a huge advantage over those who did not have these skills. This skill would also logically relate to stonemasonry and architecture and other crafts that the Templars were famed for. Think about the Templars using their templates to build temples in order to command the temporal fabric of time. By using the geometry and navigation secrets learned from the ancients, the Templars were capable of decoding any geomantic mysteries that may have been left as lessons of the mystery schools, and indeed may have been capable of creating a few themselves. Later mysteries such as the Rennes-le-Chateau, the Oak Island Money Pit, the Kensington Runestone, the Verendre Runestone, the Grail legend of Accokeek, Maryland, and Bacon's Vault in Williamsburg, Virginia, may have been inspired by the ancient Grail quests and left for others to decipher and discover for themselves. In this episode of GIS, we're going to explore what may have been a very early Grail quest by the Knights Templar in the 12th century. There's evidence that the Templars used the octagonal shape of the Dome of the Rock itself as a sighting device in their search for the lost Ark of the Covenant, and followed it to its southern orientation to a place in Ethiopia that is as lost in time and clouded in the mysteries as any site in Egypt itself. This location also represents an intersection between the southerly line extending from the Dome of the Rock based on its orientation and the southeast orientation of St. Peter's Square at the Vatican. We've previously established how the obelisk at the center of St. Peter's Square in the Vatican and its surrounding windrose markers may be used as a sighting device. Each windrose marker has a primary compass direction inscribed on it. Each of these directions leads to a place on the globe that is significant to the Roman Catholic faith. The easterly orientation, or east windrose marker, creates a line or azimuth that transects from St. Peter's across the Balkans and leads directly to the dome of Hagia St. Sophia in Istanbul, Turkey. Hagia St. Sophia is directly adjacent to the Hippodrome of Theodosius, which also contains an Egyptian obelisk similar to the one at St. Peter's. The back azimuth, or opposite direction, to the west leads to Fatima, Portugal, site of the miracles of Fatima in the 1930s. The town of Fatima was named for the daughter of the Prophet Muhammad of the Islamic faith, while Spain was occupied by the Moors. Most amazingly, the east-southeast windrose marker leads directly to the Dome of the Rock in Jerusalem. Not only does this azimuth lead directly to the building of the Dome of the Rock, The line matches the angle of the northeast facet of that octagonal structure. The octagon of the Dome of the Rock may be in turn used as a sighting device similar to the one at St. Peter's. And we're going to take a look at how the Knights Templar may have used that very building as a sighting device. Now, in other chapters of my book and other videos, I've examined the possibilities of Thomas Jefferson being a Knights Templar strict observance in the United States and using these principles to create personal, quote, personal meridians or ley lines. So this is indeed maybe a tradition that's descended from the Knights Templar all the way to the time of Thomas Jefferson and even the modern days. So let's take a look at the southeast trending line created using the Windrose marker at St. Peter's. Now, due to the way St. Peter's is oriented, it's about 1.39 degrees east of north, or west of north, tilted a little bit. So the southeast directional marker in this setup is 133.61 degrees, and this is a line that goes excuse me, from the center of the obelisk across the Windrose marker itself. So this creates a line on the globe, this 133.61 degree angle. It transects its way across the Mediterranean Sea, then Africa, including Ethiopia, and meets the Indian Ocean near Mogadishu, Somalia. On its path across Ethiopia, the line transects the environs of Lalibela, Ethiopia, right near the Church of St. George. Lalibela is home to the Ethiopian Orthodox Church that is wholly independent of the Roman Catholic Church. Lalibela is home to a complex of 13 churches that were hewn out of solid rock in the 12th and 13th century. The ruler of that age, Gabre Meskel Lalibela, designed an arrangement of churches that were said to emulate the layout of the Temple Mount and the city of Jerusalem itself. At this point, Jerusalem was occupied by Muslim concerns, making travel there by Christians dangerous, and it had previously been a place of pilgrimage, so these people created an alternate site to serve the same purpose in Ethiopia. The river that runs through Lalibela is even named the River Jordan. The churches are all connected via a complex of subterranean tunnels. A massive cistern is also part of the plan of the city. Each of these churches is an amazing feat of masonry and engineering. They are hewn out of solid rock with no fitted pieces or forms. Each church resembles a cross-shaped building that is set in a pit of solid rock, and the church itself is solid rock. The city of Lalibela does have a long history that may be of great interest to the Roman Catholic Church. Through history, there have been persistent rumors that the Ark of the Covenant was once brought to Ethiopia, and is indeed backed up by narratives from the Bible. This curiosity may have led the Knights Templar, or some of them, to travel to Lalibela and Axsum, Ethiopia, at a time when the Templars were still part of the Catholic Church, prior to the schism that occurred between the Templars and the Church in the early 14th century, or early 1300s. The fact that there's a legend of the Ark being here lends credence to the theory that the Templars came in search of it. Okay, other compelling evidence linking the Vatican to the Ark of the Covenant mystery involves the opposite direction of the southeast Windrose marker. So if we follow the northwest Windrose marker, we find that it leads right to Chartres Cathedral in France. And the association here is that there's sculptures and statuary there of the Queen of Sheba, Queen of Sheba taking the ark to Ethiopia. So if you create an azimuth using the northwest windrose marker at the Vatican, it leads right to Chartres Cathedral. The northwest azimuth is the opposite to the southeast azimuth that leads to Ethiopia in the said location of the Ark of the Covenant. Chartres fits into the Ark of the Covenant mystery in that some of the carvings on the church's north exterior depict the biblical scene of the Queen of Sheba taking the Ark to Ethiopia. Now here's a spatially related clue to the mystery. The builders of Chartres must have been aware of the Ark's location in Ethiopia, and in fact the Chartres Cathedral and the churches in Lalibela, remember, that were supposed to be emulating the layout of Jerusalem, with possibly the Church of St. George representing the Temple Mount, was built nearly at the same time span. I think Chartres was built just a few years later. So there's lots of lore and lots of connecting the dots going on, but somebody was creating an alternate place to go besides the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, possibly for political reasons, and that the Muslims controlled it at that time. So just more evidence. So the spatial relationship between the obelisk at the center of St. Peter's and the windrose markers, specifically the southeast one and the northwest one here, really what creates on the globe is a straight line that goes from Chartres Cathedral, transecting St. Peter's Square over the northwest windrose marker and the southeast windrose marker, and continuing to Lalibela, right to the vicinity of St. George Church in Lalibela. Again, Lalibela built to resemble Jerusalem. So this is an interesting spatial relationship, all thematically linked to the Ark of the Covenant. Now, does this mean that the Ark could have been moved to Chartres? I mean, the fact that there are sculptures that are depicting its movement to Ethiopia does not suggest that, but they did take the time to build that cathedral in alignment with Lalibela via the Vatican. And this was still, Chartres was built at a time when the Knights Templar were part of the Catholic Church. So the fact that they may have quested in Ethiopia for the Ark of the Covenant makes sense. These carvings at Chartres, there's lots of mysteries said to be deciphered in the sculptures of Chartres Cathedral. Also